Tonight on First at 9 this Sunday the 21st of July 2024. Bipartisan unity. President Ranil Wickremesinghe invites opposition leader Sajith Premadasa and Anurukumara Disanayake to rebuild the nation. Says final decision on presidential polls candidacy will be announced soon. 7:30 to 1:30. The Salon Teachers Union to launch a Work to Rule campaign from tomorrow over wage disparities between teachers and principals. Reviewing progress. IMF delegation expected to arrive in Sri Lanka next week, says Finance State Minister. Delegation to discuss the progress of Sri Lanka's economy. Rolling over. Government pays 129 billion rupees in debt repayments during the first half of 2024, exceeding the amount borrowed through government securities, claims the Finance State Minister.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
This is Derana First at 9, live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to Derana First at 9. I'm Aditya Singha joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. Now in your top story this evening, President Ranil Wickremesinghe invited opposition leader Sajith Premadasa and National People's Power leader Anurukumara Disanayake to collaborate in rebuilding the country. He made those remarks while attending a public rally in Kadawatha today. Meanwhile, during the rally, Minister of Urban Development Prasanna Ranatunga invited President Wickremesinghe to contest in the upcoming presidential election. Responding to the invitation, President Ranil Wickremesinghe revealed that his decision on the matter will be announced in due course.
The third rally of the Together We Win series of public rallies was held today in Kadawatha under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. The event saw the attendance of several politicians from both the United National Party and the Sri Lanka Pudujana Peramuna.
The opposition claims that the president is afraid of facing an election. They keep making suggestions to postpone the election. If he was not afraid to lead the country through times of hardship, lawlessness and personal adversity, will he be afraid of a presidential election now? The leaders who fled during those challenging times have now emerged as eloquent speakers. Where were they when the country needed them?
I would like to remind the young generation supporting the JVP to stay focused and to not get lost. I also want to emphasize that the most qualified candidate for the presidency is Ranil Wickremesinghe. As Mahinda Rajapaksha's right-hand man, today I stand with Ranil Wickremesinghe because of my love for this country. I encourage you to do the same.
President Wickremesinghe also joined the public rally in Kadawatha.
I admit that I criticized President Ranil Wickremesinghe while setting up the SJB. As a close associate of Sajith Premadasa, when former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa invited him to take over, we deliberated intensively from Monday to Thursday, only to have the decisions reversed the next day. By Thursday, I realized that despite his interest, he would not accept the position. A leader must be willing to face challenges. Just imagine if President Ranil Wickremesinghe hadn't taken charge. Would our country be in its current state?
We expect you to contest in the upcoming election. Only you can guide the country safely through this difficult journey. Therefore, your decision in the coming weeks will be crucial. I urge everyone to support President Ranil Wickremesinghe as a candidate for the upcoming presidential election.
Addressing this rally in Kadawatha 2 years after assuming office, I report that I have fulfilled the initial task you have entrusted to me. I inherited a country with a crippled economy and a governance. We made tough decisions knowing they were necessary for our recovery. I saw the opposition support multiple times during this period, but they opposed everything. I am not working for personal gain, but for the citizens to elevate our nation to its current standing. Despite opposition from both SJB and NPP, we have navigated the crisis. Official announcements confirming this are imminent, with creditor nations finalizing the agreements. We must move forward together. I invite both Sajith Premadasa and Anurukumara Disanayake to join us. When invited, one must respond. I have received an invitation and will respond at the appropriate time.
crunchy goodness for hunger on the go.
Now, leader of the National People's Power, who is currently on an official visit to Japan, says that an NPP-led government will take action against corruption and will also resolve all issues pertaining to the Easter Sunday attacks. While noting that the government back then received a tip-off regarding the impending Easter Sunday attack, the NPP leader went on to claim that the informant must be revealed.
The leader of the National People's Power, Anurukumara Dissanayaka, who is currently on an official visit to Japan, met with the Sri Lankan diaspora in Tsukuba, Japan.
අත්පොත් තබමින් ජාතික ජනබලවේගයේ නායක අනුර කුමාර සහෝදරයා
විවස්ථානුකූලව මැතිවරණ කොමිසම විසින් ඡන්ද දිනයේ සහ
While the Election Commission is yet to announce the date to hold the presidential election, and also while the Election Commission is yet to announce when all candidates must hand over their nominations to the Commission pursuant to the Constitution, people are still unsure if the elections will be held or not. However, uncertainty persists not on whether or not elections will be held. People are uncertain whether Ranil Wickremesinghe will contest. People are uncertain which camp he would represent if he chooses to run for office. Will it be under the banner of the UNP or the SLPP? Will Mahinda Rajapaksa support Ranil Wickremesinghe? Ranil is still confused on what to do. So Ranil tries to stoke confusion within society as well. There are now talks on the 22nd Amendment to the Constitution. The NPP is ready to face any election. The presidential election will be held. Ranil will lose and he will peacefully hand over power.
දැන් ඒගොල්ලෝ කරපු කරන වැරදි වලට සහෝදරයා බලයට ආවහම මොනවද දෙන්න ඒගොල්ලන්ගෙන් ගන්නේ
මේ වංචා දූෂණ වලට
We will take legal actions against corruption and punish the corrupt. I'd like to inform Ranil Wickremesinghe that all my files are filled with information. I have a couple of files on Ranil Wickremesinghe too.
මම පාස්කු දවසේ බෝම්බ ප්‍රහාරයෙන් තුවල දෙන්නයි මහත්යයි මිය ගිහින් තුවාල ලැබලා ඉතුරු වෙච්ච අවාසනාවන්ත අම්මා කෙනෙක්. ඒත් අද වෙනකන් දඬුවමක් ලැබුණ නැහැ. මම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ මුදල් වලින් වන්දියක් නෙමෙයි.
අප්‍රේල් 4 වෙනිදා තොරතුරක් ආව පහර දීම.
They were tipped off about an impending attack on the 4th of April. They also received information on the perpetrators of the attacks on the 9th of April, while on the 20th of April, they were tipped off that the attacks will be carried out on the 21st of April. At 7 a.m. on the 21st of April, they received information pertaining to the times and locations of the attacks. Considering all the information received, it is clear that the authority were not given a few key pieces of evidence pivotal to stop the impending attack. It is also very clear that someone very close to the incident provided that information. We must inquire into who tipped the authorities off. We don't need long drawn out investigations. There are few issues that need to be resolved. Once these issues are resolved, we will be able to uncover key details relating to the attack. We assure you that under an NPP-led government, we will resolve all issues surrounding the Easter Sunday attack.
Horizon Campus 2024 intake. Register now.
Now, leader of the opposition, Sajith Premadasa, claims that he and his party will inspire substantial change to the country's education system and went on to assert that he will address the persistent issue of graduate unemployment in Sri Lanka. Addressing a gathering, the opposition leader assured that 24 community-based open universities will be established in 24 districts of the country, enabling everyone to successfully complete their higher education regardless of their age.
The 351st phase of the Sakwala program series was held at Udaludeniya Mahavidyalaya in Waligalla, Udunuwara under the patronage of opposition leader Sajith Premadasa. Apart from students who take up engineering, medicine and IT, all other graduates, especially those who specialize in arts, take to the streets and demand employment opportunities from the government. They have excelled in the scholarship examination, the GCE ordinary level exam, the GCE advanced level exam, and have also performed extremely well in university academics. However, at the end of the day, they stage protest before the Ford railway station and the Lipton Circus. What do they demand? Jobs. I assure you that we will work to inspire substantial change in the country's education system. Before this year ends, we will establish 24 community-based open universities within 24 districts of the country. Through this initiative, we will provide higher education opportunities regardless of their age.
Star Dishwasher Rally Hell Indul පහසුවෙන් සේදේ. Star Dishwasher Magic Tub එක.
Crunchy goodness for hunger on the go.
Now, in other local news, the Ceylon Teachers Union revealed plans to launch a work to rule campaign from tomorrow against the government's inaction to resolve the teacher-principal wage disparities. However, Minister of Education Dr. Susil Premajayantha assured that academic activities will not be hindered as a result of the trade union action set to be in effect tomorrow.
The teachers' unions announced their decision to engage in a work to rule campaign for 2 weeks, commencing from tomorrow, in protest of the government's lack of efforts to resolve the teacher-principal wage disparities. Accordingly, teachers and principals will not fulfill any professional commitments beyond their routine commitments. However, trade unions led by Ulapane Sumangalathera refused to participate in the Work to Rule campaign tomorrow.
Certain traditional trade unionists who do not know how to pick their battles are attempting to initiate trade union actions for their personal benefit. At the end of the day, teachers will be at the receiving end of tear gas attacks while those leaders will achieve their political ends. This Work to Rule campaign is just an extension of that effort. Teachers and principals will lose their social stature through such trade union actions.
Against this backdrop, the Minister of Education Dr. Susil Premajayantha points out that the trade union action will not impact the academic activities of students.
Teachers will perform their routine tasks from 7:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. while the work to rule action proceeds. That's good. That is what should happen. All other activities will be handled by communities built around schools.
Meanwhile, the United Postal Trade Unions Front revealed that they intend to join a united trade union action in the future in protest of the government's attitude towards trade union actions in general.
Rather than engaging in trade union actions individually, we will launch a joint trade union action in future. There are ongoing strikes in the education sector as well as in the health sector, while the non-academic staff of state universities also engage in strike actions. Therefore, we will engage in indefinite strike actions, demanding solutions to these issues.
However, Minister of Transport and Highways Dr. Bandula Gunawardena asserted that measures will be taken to dismiss employees working in essential services if they engage in strikes.
Now, a delegation representing the International Monetary Fund is scheduled to arrive in Sri Lanka next week. State Minister of Finance Srihan Semasinghe claims that while preparations for the third review of the IMF debt program are underway, the upcoming meeting will primarily focus on discussing the current economic progress and future strategies to bolster the economy. State Minister Semasinghe further emphasized that if economic activities remain uninterrupted by the upcoming elections, Sri Lanka is poised to achieve a growth rate of 3.5% in 2024.
A delegation representing the IMF will visit Sri Lanka next week. We must now prepare for the third review with the successful completion of the IMF's second review. However, the upcoming meeting is not related to the third review. The delegation expects to discuss the progress of the economy, future decisions and areas that need further strengthening. We expect to maintain the economic stability that the country enjoys at the moment. During the first quarter, the country experienced an economic growth of 5.1%, and we expect to continue that momentum throughout the year. While many reports and forecasts predict only a 2% growth this year, we aim to achieve a growth rate of 3 to 3.5% this year. We hope that economic activities will proceed uninterrupted during the upcoming election cycle. If undisturbed, we expect to achieve an economic growth rate of 3.5% this year, which will be pivotal for Sri Lanka's development. In 2022, the economy contracted by 7.8%. Turning this contraction into a growth rate of 3.5% marks a significant and a critical milestone.
Meanwhile, Finance State Minister Srihan Semasinghe claims that the government paid 129 billion rupees in debt repayments during the first half of 2024, exceeding the amount borrowed through government securities. He attributed the achievement to the new Central Bank Act passed last year. During the same period, State Minister Semasinghe disclosed that the government borrowed a total of 4,852 billion rupees through government instruments. Accordingly, the government managed to repay 4,981 billion rupees by rolling over those instruments. Emphasizing the significance of the new Central Bank Act, Minister Semasinghe noted that previously government reliance on central bank financing had resulted in inflation rates as high as 70%. However, with the implementation of the new act, the government now independently manages the budget deficit. Now, Minister of Education Susil Premajayantha affirms that the 22nd Amendment has no impact on the presidential elections and went on to highlight that some parties who are unaware of the Presidential Elections Act believe that the relevant amendment is in place to postpone the elections. With that, let's take a look at some reactions in the political arena today.
This will not postpone the presidential election. I hope everyone remembers how former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa was removed from office. We hope President Ranil Wickremesinghe will not take decisions that would lead to a fate worse than his predecessors. No one can prevent Sajith Premadasa from being elected as the country's president, not even Ranil Wickremesinghe.
The 22nd Amendment has no direct impact on the presidential election. However, some politically bankrupt parties believe that the 22nd Amendment is being passed to postpone the elections. That is completely false. We have often said that the presidential election will be held before the 17th of October this year.
The government has no right to take decisions regarding elections. As per the Constitution, that is the exclusive right of the country's Election Commission. The Supreme Court has held that the president's term is only 5 years. Since those 5 years are coming to an end, the Election Commission now has the authority to take decisions regarding the elections.
The presidential election should be held either on the 21st of September or on the 28th of September. However, if the government attempts to postpone the election, Sri Lanka will face a fate similar to that of Bangladesh.
ඉතින් මම න්‍යායපත්‍රය ඊයේ හැදුවා. ලබන සුමානේ තියෙන. ඉතින් ඒක නෑනේ.
ඒ කියන්නේ මැතිවරණ ප්‍රකාශයට පත් කළාට පස්සෙවත් වෙන එකක් නැද්ද මේක?
නෑ එහෙම ආවයි කියලා දිනමක් වොන්න ගත්තොත් ඒකේ තියෙන සැකහැර ගැනීමක් විතරයි. ඉන් එහා මැතිවරණට බලපෑමක් වෙන්නේ නෑ. ඒක විවිධ කණ්ඩායම් සහ හරියට ව්‍යවස්ථාව සහ මැතිවරණ නීතිය කියවපු නැති අය කරන ප්‍රකාශයක් විතරයි.
Now let's take a look at some local news in brief.
A dispute between two inmates of the Mathura prison left one inmate brutally injured, prompting authorities to admit the inmate in question to hospital for treatment. According to the prison spokesperson, the hospitalized inmate sustained severe injuries inflicted by a sharp weapon. Meanwhile, during a raid carried out by the police special task force in Ragama, a 28-year-old suspect was arrested with over 10 grams of heroin, while another suspect aged 26 was arrested with over 10 grams of crystal methamphetamine and other narcotic substances in his possession. Investigations revealed that the arrestees are affiliated with the organized crime syndicate run by a drug trafficker working for unknown underworld figure Kanjipani Imran. In other local news, two vehicles travelling from Galle to Colombo ran into each other on the Southern Expressway. 5 individuals were reported to be injured in the accident and have since been admitted to the Badigama District Hospital for treatment.
Welcome back. Now, Sri Lanka welcomed 109,393 tourists from the 1st to the 18th of July 2024. The total number of tourist arrivals to the island this year are up to the 18th of July stands at a remarkable 1.1,019,642. According to data issued by the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, 43,083 tourists arrived in Sri Lanka during the first week of July, while 42,343 arrived during the second week of the month. 23,967 arrivals were recorded during the first 4 days of the third week of July. A total of 27,574 Indian tourists visited Sri Lanka up to the 18th, accounting for 25.2% of all tourist arrivals, marking the highest contribution from any single country. Significant numbers of tourists also arrived from the United Kingdom, China, Germany and the Netherlands. With that, let's take a look at the corporate news segment for the evening.
Sri Lanka-based holding company Bukit Dara in its annual report said the beverage sector is charting a strategic course focused on driving growth in both volume and value in the future, adding that the company expects to explore adjacent categories to drive further growth. The annual report further noted that the company internationally intends to take a proactive approach, seeking to gain deep consumer insights and develop tailored product portfolios to expand the company's global footprint. The company also emphasized that it is committed to striking a balance between future profits and cost performance, all while focusing on the superior quality of the company's products. Meanwhile, Carson Cumberbatch plc, one of Sri Lanka's largest conglomerates, in its annual report 2023-2024 said the company expects to execute broad structural reforms aimed at restoring business and consumer confidence. The company highlighted the importance of driving foreign direct investments through investor-friendly policies and achieving export-led economic growth. Further, the company says it expects to maintain growth resting on the company's capital strength and the excellence of its employees. In other corporate news, Aitken Spence Hotel Holdings plc in its annual report 2023-2024 acknowledged the need to increase government revenue, adding that it is important to be conscious of the impact made on more vulnerable segments of society. Aitken Spence says it is vital to increase tax revenue by widening the base and improving transparency while making a conscious effort to minimize the public sector expenditure. The company noted that it is also crucial to revive the economy with consumer and business confidence underpinned by consistent long-term policy frameworks.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Ada Derana First at 9. Stay in touch with us on www.adaderana.lk for the latest developments around the clock. Thank you. Have a great night.
For news and information you can trust 24 hours a day, visit adaderana.lk.